Hey folks, it's Scott here, Open-Minded Movie coming to you with an out-of-the-blue movie review. It's a film that I saw earlier tonight. It's called Widows. It was actually one of the movies that I was going to see last week, but all the seats, except for the front row, were all filled up, so there was no way in hell I was going to see that in the front row because I don't like doing that. Same thing with Bohemian Rhapsody. I was maybe going to give that movie a watch, but same thing. Only available seats were in the front row, so no can do with me on that. But anyways, this time I was lucky enough to get a seat, like pretty similar to how I got the seat for the Grinch. So yeah. Anywho, basically this movie is directed. The movie Widows is directed by a guy named Steve McQueen, and I don't know what he's directed, and he's not related to the old veteran actor who died in 1980, the late great Steve McQueen. I'll go off on him whenever I do any of his movie reviews. But anyways, excuse me. Basically, it's a heist drama type of film, and I never seen any of McQueen's films or whatever he's done before, but it was pretty competently directed. He's got a great ensemble cast. He's got Viola Davis. He's got Michelle Rodriguez, an actress that I'm not familiar with named Elizabeth Debicki. I don't know what she's been in. And then you got Cynthia Erivo, whatever her name. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Not really familiar with her. You also got Colin Farrell. No doubtly, I'm familiar with his work. So, of course, you have Liam Neeson in there, who is the renowned thief and the husband of Viola Davis's character. So, yeah. And of course, you have Robert Duvall, the late. Sorry, not the late, but he's still alive. You have a very you have that type of actor in there. So yeah, you got a pretty solid ensemble cast in there. So, anyways, on to this. Basically, involves Liam Neeson's character, who's a renowned thief, and he has several of other of his members and associates. They basically have robbed this political. Well, I guess he's actually a crime boss according to Wikipedia. The character's name is Jamal Manning, and he's robbed about $2 million, if I said that correctly. Basically, Jamal needs that money for to finance his electoral campaign, because this apparently takes place in Chicago. So, and all on the way, when Harry and his crime partners are fleeing the police, they eventually evade the police and they go into this hideout. But eventually, somehow, some way, the SWAT team tracked them down there, and van blows up when the SWAT team pretty much shot at them and whatnot. But anyways, we get to see, for brief moments, the characters played by Viola Davis, Michelle Rodriguez, and Elizabeth's character. The wives are going through their motions and figuring out, what the hell is going on. They're also, while they're also grieving, unfortunately, their lives are being also turned upside down. Like Viola Davis's character, Veronica, is being threatened by Jamal himself, demanding to have his $2 million back. And also Michelle Rodriguez's character, Linda, who she believed owned a store, or clothing store specifically, apparently is being bought out by the debt collectors. I guess her husband, whoever, didn't pay the bills, and that's what's happening. And then Alice's character, Elizabeth's character, Alice is stuck in a rut with her mom. I guess she lives with her parents. I don't know. I took a bathroom break on that, so I'll have to look. Okay. So eventually, in order to try to at least somehow pay off or get the money, pay off the what was their last names? The Mannings. Veronica decides to enlist the help of the deceived husband's wives, and try to formulate a plan to somehow, get money, because eventually Veronica finds a book that Harry had left for her just in case if something were to go awry, and so they basically try to form a plan and figure out where this safe house, or where this a map for where he would strike next, and also that notebook contained other previous plans and whatnot that he did on other jobs. So anyways, so they get together, eventually try to formulate a plan. Apparently one of the wives doesn't really show up, but eventually she does contact Veronica. And spoilers, if you haven't seen the film, stop right here and go see the film yourself. Spoilers, you've been warned. Basically, we actually find out, believe it or not, I didn't see this coming, Harry's actually still alive, and he's the one that set the whole thing up from the beginning. And apparently he's in cahoots with Colin Farrell's character, Jack Mulligan. I guess because they have some kind of history. I don't know if it's really further. It's not really further expanded upon, and I'll get to one of the pros and cons of the film. So, anyways, we find out that apparently Amanda is actually his secret wife, and he has a love child with her, pretty much. Because we find out much later that that Liam Neeson's Harry's and Veronica's son eventually died due to some kind of misunderstanding by the police officer, which is kind of tragic. But I guess they kind of wanted to introduce kind of the real life aspect to that. So, but yeah, didn't see that twist coming. So there you have it. And eventually, despite all the hardships that Veronica has endured, she decides she needs to go through this plan to see it through, no matter what it's going to be, whether it's going to pay off the Mannings or split the money with the other two characters, Linda and Alice. We also get to see not only Veronica's life, but we see how Linda is dealing with this situation with her kids and having to get a babysitter whenever she meets up with Veronica. And then we also see that Alice, even though her husband died, she's basically having like kind of a sexual transaction relationship with this one wealthy dude who is surprisingly played by Lucas Haas, and I haven't really seen him in anything lately. I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect to see him in that. So kind of nice to see Lucas Haas get out there lately. It's kind of interesting seeing some unexpected actors or actresses make appearances in films I didn't see coming. I guess the less I know, the more I find out. So hey. But anyways, so basically all the three they basically, in order for the driver, there was originally going to be a driver to help him out, but eventually he's killed by one of the Mannings. And forget that actor's name that is basically Manning's, he's actually his brother. It's Daniel, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he was in the movie Get Out, so it's nice to see him try to, he's starting to kind of expand into the acting world for sure, so it's kind of cool. Anyways, so basically what's her face? Linda's friend eventually joins in on the chase because it shows that she has the speed and agility to kind of, survive and also be kind of like the watchdog and the observer. So, anywho, they eventually, do find out what the safest, where the plans are for the next one. It's actually at Jack Mulligan's home, or maybe it was his father, who's played by Robert Duvall's home. So I can't quite remember that for sure. But anyways, they eventually get the money, though they're interrupted by Duvall's character, and he wounds Alice, and then Linda actually shoots and kills what's his father's name? Tom Tom Mulligan, and eventually Alice gets dropped off at a hospital, and then eventually, after when they go their separate ways, I guess they somehow got the money. Eventually, Harry does come to the hideout, and unexpected for her, he's rather surprised, and he actually ends up attacking her because the money was really for him. He attempts to try to steal the money. Eventually, however, Veronica is repaired and shoots and kills Harry. And then after that, we see that Linda has somehow regained the ability to open up her store again, and we also see that Linda's friend Belle eventually helps another friend of hers out. I guess it was really her boss, regain her initial debt to her hair salon business. So we see that. We see that Alice is a little more outgoing and meets up with a friend. And surprising enough, the place that she meets up, Veronica, Viola Davis's character, is also there. They don't really interact. They kind of notice each other, but they ignore. However, when Alice leaves the restaurant, Veronica comes out and asks her how she's doing. In a more pleasant, and she's actually smiling because she was struggling to feel anything. So yeah, that's basically how it ends. But the pros and cons, what would I say? Cons. What are the cons? I think the somehow unexpected interaction of Colin Farrell's character and Liam Neeson's character didn't quite make sense. So I guess maybe it was something out of the blue, and maybe they should have further expanded on that. I'm guessing maybe Farrell's character, Jack Mulligan, may have been the one that called the cops. I'm not sure, so that's one thing. The heist doesn't really come until much later, so there isn't as much action as it should be, but I guess when it's there, it's effective. But like I said, it's more of a drama and maybe 15-20% heist film, because it doesn't... I think honestly the heist part is only like maybe 5 minutes at most, so maybe that's the drawback I see. And I think that's all I can say about the cons. Now for the pros, all the actors, once again, they do a solid job. The twist I did not see coming, even though it's a con of itself, because it didn't quite make sense how Harry had connections with this guy. It was just really out of the blue. But anyways, the acting definitely was not the problem. I like how we see the internal struggle of Viola Davis's character when she remembers Harry for what she was, despite the fact that they had fallen on hard times and, the loss of their son. And it shows what the character was going through. She was really in a deep depression. She hardly ever smiled. But she was tough, and she was determined to see the plan through from here to eternity. And we see that the other two characters, Alice and Linda, it was unexpected for them, but they realized they got to do this for them. They got to find a way to fight to get their lives back. And so it's a good way to show the internal and external struggle for all these three women. So it's something to be admired for. And there's some tense moments, like whenever there's actually, I take it back. There is tense moments, but there was also an interesting little shot, like after Jack leaves, wherever he was trying to promote this idea of helping people. There's a shot where they go into this car. You hear the conversation going on, but you don't actually see their faces. The camera focuses on the exterior of the car, so it's kind of like a launch shot, I guess, or a tracking shot to a degree. I can't remember what that is, but I think it was interesting. It kind of, I guess they're showing the outside world while these characters are conversing about how to fix a particular problem on the Chicago streets. So yeah. But anyways, I don't know what else to really say. It's a well acted, character driven not masterpiece, but a well driven character piece for sure. So, but anyways, I guess what I would rate it like 3.5 out of 5 stars. I lost track, but anyways. Oh yeah, I was going to show you something else too. Before I saw the movie, I actually bought a novel, and it's actually the Star Trek 3 Search for Spock novel. Because, sometimes they try to, even though the movie comes out, sometimes they have some expansions in the story or some stuff that was never mentioned in the movie. So I'm curious to find out what this would say. And I actually only paid like $1.60 for it at Half Price Books. Not bad. I didn't buy this there, but I bought this like a year or two ago. I actually have another Star Trek novelization. It's of the 5th film. I remember reading this, but there you go. So yeah, it's been a rather interesting night for me. Sorry if I sounded a little off track. I was trying to remember, and I thought I should do this review, just to keep things in a fresh perspective. But yeah, I think overall, it was definitely a good, solid film. I mean, I think the one other con maybe I can mention, it's a bit of a slow burn for the most part. But if you like, character-driven stories like this, definitely give it a watch. Like I said, I guess I would rate it like 3.5 out of 5. It's a solid rating, I'd say. All right, well, you know what? That's going to do it for me. I have no idea what other video will come up, but you will definitely know, folks. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.